In this video, we will take a look at a simple yet very powerful flow example that shows how you can automatically generate work orders in an IFS ERP system by monitoring any number of data sources using the data trigger module. So this is a module that can monitor data coming from different sources and check it against a list of triggers that you have defined in the settings of this module. So this module can monitor any number of data sources that you feed it with as input, and you can then specify different conditions that you want to check on that data. And whenever one of these conditions have been met, there will be an output from this module indicating which of the triggers that has fired. And when we define triggers, we can also include any additional metadata associated with that trigger, and that metadata will then be part of the message that is sent out of this module. And in this example, we use this to include a specification of which work order we want to create in the IFS system when a specific trigger fires. And we then use that in the module after the trigger module to pick up the work order specification and then create the message that is tailored for the IFS system in this case. And then we send that message into the IFS system to create this specific work order. So this is just an example where we have used two different types of data sources, an OPC input and an MQTT input. And each of these inputs can deliver any number of data sources or outputs from any number of data sources or tags if we talk OPC data. So it is based on how these modules are configured. The output will be slightly different from these or the data formats, and that's why we have added two modules here to harmonize the data formats so that when they hit the data trigger module, they will look the same independent of the original data source, so that the data trigger module can pick up the data that we want to check. But these two inputs are just examples. You can of course use any type of inputs here that are available through the module library, so you can monitor data from API calls, files, databases, and so forth by just adding other types of input modules, and then make sure that you align the data so that it looks the way that the trigger module expects to see it. So then you can monitor very large numbers of data sources with just a single module. You can have thousands of triggers defined in this data trigger module. And for each trigger, you can then define which work order you want to trigger when that specific condition has been met. So this is a basic example of automatically triggering work orders. This flow can of course be extended with more advanced functionality. You could, for example, check that you don't already have an active work order of the same type in the IFS system before you trigger a new one. Or maybe you want to check that it has passed a certain time since the last time you triggered the same work order. But that type of logic could then be added to this flow using other standard modules in the library to make it a bit more advanced. But even with this very simple flow that we have in this example, you can still create something that is very useful in many situations. And again, sending these work order creations to IFS is of course also just an example. You could have other outputs here, other types of ERP systems or any system that needs to be notified when a certain condition has been met based on the data that you feed into this flow.